Good morning, dear students, and welcome to the next part of our chapter, the human body and the organ system. Today we will be understanding about blood and the different components of blood. Now, as you all know, blood is a red colored liquid and it is a connective tissue. The blood which is rich in oxygen, or you can say oxygenated blood, is very dark red in color. It is slightly salty in taste and its pH level is 7.4. Blood is basically made up of two main components, plasma and blood cells. First, let us look at plasma. In this picture, you can see the pale yellow liquid. That is your plasma. So plasma is a yellowish liquid which is slightly alkaline in nature, and it is made up of 90 to 92% of water, 6 to 8% of proteins and 1 to 2% of inorganic salts. The proteins which are present in plasma are albumin, globulin, fibrinogen and prothrombin. The inorganic salts which are present in plasma are calcium, sodium and potassium, and these are basically very much required to control the functions of the muscles and the nerves. Now the second part of your blood is the blood cells. Blood cells are basically of three types, that is your RBC, WBC and the platelets. The full form of RBC are red blood cells or red blood corpuscles. These are small circular enucleated cells. These cells appear red due to the presence of hemoglobin. The oxygen dissolves in the blood due to hemoglobin. Now, in a normal human being, there is 50 to 60 lakhs RBCs present in each cubic millimeter of blood. RBCs are produced in the red bone marrow and they can survive for about 100 to 127 days. Next, we look at WBCs, which is white blood cells or white blood corpuscles. These are large, nucleated and colorless cells, and these are in a normal human being there will be a presence of 5000 to 10,000 WBCs present per cubic millimeter of blood. There are 5 types of WBCs, which are basophils, eosinophils, neutrophils, monocytes and lymphocytes. Your white blood corpuscles are produced in the red bone marrow, and these act like the soldiers in our body. Whenever we fall sick, whenever there is any infection, when you have any kind of harmful microorganisms attacking our body, at that time the WBCs behave like soldiers and they try to kill those infectious cells or infectious organs which enter our body. So the basic function of WBCs is they attack the pathogens which enter our body and they protect our body from microbial diseases. Now the third component of the blood cells is the platelets. Platelets are extremely small and disc shaped. In a normal human being, there can be 2.5 to 4 lakh platelets present per cubic millimeter of blood. The basic function of platelets is to participate in the blood clotting process. Now let us understand what is the function of blood. Why blood is so much important in the body of an organism. First, it helps in the transport of gases. Oxygen is carried via the blood from the lungs to the cells in the various parts of the body, and the carbon dioxide from the cells is carried back to the lungs, and all this work is done by the blood. Second, it helps in the transport of nutrients. Simple nutrients like glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, all these are taken up by the blood from the walls of the alimentary canal, and they are transported to the different cells in the body. Third, transport of waste materials. All the nitrogenous waste like ammonia, urea, creatinine, all these are released by the tissues. This is carried by the blood to the kidneys for the process of excretion. Fourth, protection. Antibodies are produced in the blood and they are protecting the body from microbes or other harmful particles which can attack the human body. Fifth, transport of enzymes and hormones. Blood also helps in the transportation of enzymes and the hormones from the site of their production to the site of their action. That is, the blood transports the enzymes and the hormones from the organs which produce them to wherever it is required to be sent. Sixth, thermoregulation. Our body temperature is maintained at a constant normal of 37 degrees Celsius with the help of blood, and this is happening because of two processes, which is vasodilation and vasoconstriction. Seventh, maintaining the balance of the important minerals like sodium, potassium and calcium in the body. And the last one, if there is any bleeding which occurs due to any injury, then the platelets which is found in the blood and the protein called as fibrinogen which is there in the blood, they both come together and form clot, which helps in sealing of the wound, sealing of the injury, so that excessive blood loss does not happen. Next, let us look at the human blood groups. Depending upon the proteins like antigens and antibodies, different blood groups are formed in human beings. Basically, there are four main blood groups, that is A, B, AB and O. Besides this, blood can be divided into two types based on Rh negative or Rh positive. So we can say that in humans we have 8 different types of blood groups, which can be A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, AB positive, AB negative or O positive, O negative. Now we look at blood donation. It is said that blood donation is the most supreme gift. It helps to save life. So blood donation is the best kind of gift. Now if a person meets with an accident, then you very well know that bleeding occurs from wounds. Many times the bleeding can take place to such an extent that it can cause danger to the life of that person. So in such circumstances, blood transfusion is required during the process of surgery. Similarly, blood is transfused or given to any patient of who is suffering from diseases like anemia or thalassemia or cancer. Blood transfusion can also be carried out to compensate shortage of blood in the body. In case if any person is not able to produce enough amount of blood which is required by the body, so in such people also blood transfusion is given. Now you should understand that blood groups are hereditary and depend upon the genes which we get from our parents. So blood transfusion is performed only after matching the blood groups. We cannot go and transfer any type of blood to anybody. So this is done only by matching. If we do not match the blood correctly, then it can be very, very dangerous for the person who is receiving the blood. That person can even die. The person who donates the blood may require blood in the future in case if he becomes sick or if he meets with any kind of an accident. So blood donation without any exception is always life saving. When you are donating blood, you should always think that you are saving the life of someone else, or maybe you are saving your own life, because you don't know, maybe in the future you might require blood yourself. So blood is required in various situations, as I said before, during accidents or during bleeding or during balutation, when a woman gives birth to a baby. At that time also there can be a lot of blood loss, so at that time also the mother might require blood during any kind of operation. So there are different situations wherein blood can be required. So the blood which is donated by a healthy person is used to save the life of a person who needs blood. That is the reason blood donation is considered as the best donation. Now in this chart we understand what is the meaning of a recipient, what is the meaning of a donor. A donor is the person who donates the blood, okay, so he is called as a blood donor, and a recipient is the person who receives the blood, so he is the blood recipient, okay. So a donor who is having blood group O can give blood to a recipient having any blood group. So it can be O, A, B or AB. So the person who is having blood group O, as I said, can donate blood to person having any kind of blood group, and hence that person is known as a universal donor. A person with blood group A can give blood only to person having blood group A or blood group AB. Then in the third column you see person with a blood donor with blood type B can give blood only to a person who is having blood group B or AB. And finally a person with blood group AB can give blood only to a person who is having blood group AB. So a person who is having blood group AB, a recipient of AB, you see that in the very last part of your chart, the green ticks, the recipient of AB can receive blood from anyone. So he is called as the universal recipient. Now this, my dear students, is a picture of a blood bank. A blood bank is a place where blood is collected and it is kept under specific conditions. So blood is collected from a healthy individual and it is then separated into its various components. It is separated into RBC, WBC and platelets, and then it is kept. Now if blood is required immediately, it can be given to that person immediately, but if it is not required, it can be stored in the refrigerator in the blood bank. We should be aware that there are many misconceptions with regards to blood donation. There might be people who might tell you that if you donate blood, you might become weak. But students, there is absolutely nothing like that. Blood production occurs continuously in our body. Our body is continuously generating new blood. Okay. So when you go for blood donation, it's not that the entire blood from your body is removed. Only 350 ml of your blood is collected when you go for donation. Okay. And this much amount of blood is immediately replaced by our body within 24 hours. It does not even take 1 day for your body, and your body will regenerate that much amount of blood. So there is absolutely no trouble which you can face during the process of blood donation and even after the process of blood donation. If you are a healthy person, you can very well easily donate blood. Any healthy person who is above the age of 18 can donate blood at least 3 to 4 times a year. Okay, but you have to make sure that people who are ladies who are pregnant or breastfeeding, who give milk to children, they are not supposed to go for blood donation. And one more date which is important to remember is the 1st of October. 1st of October is observed as National Voluntary Blood Donation Day. This next slide is a very common sight you must have seen. Either you must have seen the doctor measuring your own blood pressure or measuring the blood pressure of someone you know. Okay, so as you know that blood is continuously flowing through the blood vessels, and there is a constant contraction and relaxation of your heart. Now, due to this contraction of the heart, pressure is exerted on the walls of the arteries, and this is called as your blood pressure. Proper blood pressure is necessary to supply the blood to all the parts of your body. So if your blood pressure is not proper, what will happen is that your blood will not be supplied to all the various parts of your body properly, and you might become unconscious. Pressure is recorded during the contraction of the heart, that is called as the systolic pressure, and the one which is recorded during the relaxation of the heart is called as diastolic pressure. So whenever you are measuring the pressure, you must have understood that a doctor gives you two readings. Okay, so that is how the blood pressure is measured. In a healthy individual, the blood pressure is usually around 120 by 80, and this is measured with the help of a special instrument which is called as the sphygmomanometer. Now let us understand what is high blood pressure or hypertension or high BP. Now, high blood pressure is when the pressure of the blood is more than normal. So that is when it is called as hypertension or high BP. Now, in the arteries of a person who is suffering from high BP, unnecessary tension is developed, and due to this the heart needs to perform extra work. It has to pump extra, more than what is required in its normal cycle. So because of this, your heart is working extra and the heart undergoes a lot of stress. What are the different causes of hypertension? What are the different things which can happen because of which stress can increase, the hypertension can increase, or BP can increase in any human being? It can be due to the age of the person. It can be if we are eating too much salt in our food, if we are obese, if we are too much fat, if there is a lot of stress in our mind, or it can also be heredity. For example, if your parents have high blood pressure, there are chances that you may also get this disease of high blood pressure. Okay, but it does not mean that you cannot do anything about it. You are totally in control of your own body. You have to make sure that you love your heart. So for that, you can do many things to keep your heart healthy, to keep yourself healthy. First of all, reduce salt consumption. If you love eating chips, if you love eating pickles, if you love eating too much salty, if you love to sprinkle salt over your food and eat, I request you, please stop it as soon as possible, or at least try and reduce the quantity of salt that you consume. Okay, so reducing salt consumption is the first step towards loving your heart. Second, choose a healthy diet. You have to make sure that the food that you eat is healthy food. You cannot eat junk food on a daily basis. Eating burgers, pizzas once in a while is okay, but on a normal daily basis you have to eat a healthy diet. Third, uh, it might not be applicable to you right now, but you have to make sure that even later on in life you have to not do anything like smoking or drinking alcohol. Next, maintaining a healthy weight. You have to make sure that your weight is healthy. The next, limit alcohol consumption. As I said, it might not be applicable to you right now, but later on in life also you have to make sure that you do not go towards any unhealthy habits like smoking and drinking, or smoking tobacco, drinking alcohol. All these habits may look cool, but it is actually not good at all. Okay, by smoking or drinking you're not going to get any nutrition at all. Instead you're spoiling your own body, so it is best to avoid it completely. And last but not the least is exercise daily. If you are exercising daily, then there is nothing which can stop you from maintaining yourself in a very fit manner. Okay, so with this, dear students, we come to the end of this particular chapter. Till we meet again, dear students, stay safe, stay happy. Bye.